Welcome back to my channel. You might be wondering why I have 30 beef sausages on my table here, to be exact. If you're new here, I suffer with a lot of health issues, mostly autoimmune conditions. And in order to manage my symptoms, I have to heal with food. Food is medicine, and that's how I manage my autoimmune symptoms. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining the foods I eat, why I eat the foods I eat, why I get custom beef sausages made. Gonna go through everything I do diet related to manage my autoimmune as an athlete. Let's dive into the video. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this quick because I don't want my little scooter to get stolen outside. So the biggest thing I do to avoid digestive discomfort is to get foods with one ingredient. So the only thing I ever get in a can or a bottle, it's usually just the ingredient itself, just the product itself. It's one thing I utilize big time. If you've watched my YouTube channel for a while now, you know I use MCT oil. So MCT oil gets rapidly used by the body as fuel instead of having to go through the whole digestive process. So this is personally the best brand I've had. I've been having MCT oil for about 3 or 4 years. So you can see there's only one ingredient, which is organic medium chain triglycerides. MCT oil is from coconuts, if you did not know that. I've been adding white rice to my diet for a few months now, so this is usually the brand I get. It's regenerative, organic, certified. Only ingredient is California white jasmine rice. I don't need any today, but again, one ingredient. So the reason it's good to get one ingredient foods is because you know exactly what ingredient it is, and you find if you react to that ingredient or that food, you know you probably shouldn't be eating it. It doesn't fit well for your diet and for your body. So, for example, I don't eat rice cakes, but if you do, there's usually only one ingredient. Organic brown rice. So if rice cakes fit for you, that's fine, eat them. But if you go over here to like something that looks healthy, there we go, organic coconut rolls. They look pretty healthy. But there is organic coconut, organic heirloom rice flour, organic cassava flour, and organic cane sugar. So you might do fine to the rice flour, but you might be reacting to the cassava flour. You might be eating these thinking, oh, it's the rice flour that's upsetting me. Well, no, it's the cassava flour. So that is why it's better to just go with 100% rice cakes. 100% rice cakes made with 100% rice and maybe some salt. Sometimes I actually buy those beef chips, but it's a great alternative to, say, some grain-free taco shells or some other sort of chips. I use apple cider vinegar with all of my meals because that stimulates digestion for me. I have low stomach acid, so it's hard for me to digest a lot of foods. It takes more energy to digest the foods I eat, and my digestion is just more sluggish. So that's another tip for those that have autoimmune issues, especially related to your gut. Try apple cider vinegar 10-15 minutes before your meal, just a shot of it. It stimulates stimulates that stomach acid production. I'm not really getting a lot here, just a couple things: MCT oil, apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna start trying some sourdough, so I bought a sourdough starter. So I'm gonna mix that up with white rice flour. I think that's about it. I don't really want to get in people's ways. I'm not a big grocery store filmer. So I'll catch you at home. Okay, let's get into the meat of things. See what I did there? Because I don't eat potatoes. So meat and potatoes. Let's get into the meat of things. So I am back to tell you about my diet. Now, as I was mentioning at the health food store, I try to eat single ingredient foods. So I originally started this way of eating about 3 years ago. It was a huge elimination diet. I read a book by Paul Saladino. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Anyway, he's a big advocate of carnivore diet, animal-based diet. So I started removing all vegetables out of my diet, most fruits, and then eventually I just got down to meat, beef fat, like tallow, and a little bit of maple syrup, maybe a little bit of honey. For the last 3 years now, I've been around 50 grams of carbs. Now everybody's different. That number may go up in a couple months. That number may go down in a couple months. But it's most likely gonna go up slightly if I'm training so much. I'm gonna show you some of the things I eat. If you're new here, I eat a lot of just simple ingredient things, mostly products from animals. So I'm gonna lay everything out for you and then I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the majority of my diet. So we have some beef tallow, beef fat, grass-fed ground beef, always. Some more grass-fed ground beef. Organic white basmati rice that you saw at the grocery store. Coconut oil and MCT oil. Been recently on an olive oil kick, so this is organic from a local olive oilery. I don't know what you want to call it. Real Canadian maple syrup. Do you say syrup? I say syrup. And a little bit of honey sometimes. I'm more of a maple syrup gal. So pretty much I eat these foods because they're all one ingredient. So with an elimination diet, you basically eliminate all the foods you think that are bothering you. So for me, it was most foods. With my autoimmune disease, if you saw my documentary, you know I have colitis, and I also suffered with a really bad illness that destroyed all my gut bacteria. So I eat things with just one ingredient. This, Wagyu beef. This, lean ground beef. This, one ingredient is just beef fat. I usually like to get big chunks of beef suet, which is just beef fat, at the butcher. I like to put it in my air fryer and crisp it up. In terms of carbohydrates, this is pretty much all I use for carbs. So by eliminating the foods that think upset your stomach, it gives your stomach time to reset, your intestines to reset, And then you can start adding those things back in to see what's bothering you. You have to do it very methodical. You can't just add one food on Monday, the next you add a different food, the next you add a different food. For me, I have a slow transit time, which means things take a while to go through my system to digest. So I have to do, like, say, one food on Monday, and then I gotta test a different food pretty much the next week. But you gotta give your body time to adapt, so you slowly gotta introduce foods. The only supplements I use, again, they're one ingredient. So I use gelatin a lot. I like to make simple jello. Just basically, you pour some water in, then you mix some hot water in, and then it'll gelatinize one set. And this is my beef protein powder. It's from Equip Foods. It's the prime protein. I just put it in a little container because it's easier and less messy. And I've recently been on a kick of these Bear bars. They're perfect macronutrients. Pretty much, it's just grass-fed beef protein, same protein that I used back there. Grass-fed beef tallow, which is tallow right here. Raw honey, shocker, right here. And that's it. Salt, which is in my cabinet and I'm not gonna grab. So it's pretty much just all the simple ingredients that I use combined into this bar. I do have a discount code if you want to try it. It's almost like a marshmallowy texture. Slightly sweet, slightly salty. Seriously, they're game changers. Every time I eat one, I want to eat 3. And it sucks because they're expensive for me because I'm in Canada. So if you're in the States, definitely take advantage. I'm not even kidding. I really don't get much out of this if you buy it. So do yourself a favor. It helps my performance. It's easy to eat on the bike if I'm doing a long bike. Perfect little pre-workout. So again, I know that all those individual ingredients sit well with my stomach. And then when you combine them all, I know I'm not going to have any issues. So diet is very important for me because I am an athlete. I consider myself a higher level athlete than maybe most. That's just the reality, right? I train hard and I perform well. I do well at the activities I do. So it's really important that I eat the right foods and I'm not eating processed foods like gels and, you know, those maple waffles that you can eat while you run. Like, it just doesn't sit well with me. So if I'm used to being in pain on a regular day with training, I don't want to be in 10 times the pain eating garbage food that all sports dietitians and sports nutritionists, not all of them, but a lot of them say that you need to eat to perform well. There's so much research out there being debunked about how ketogenic low-carb athletes perform the same as high-level athletes. I eat this way because it's the only way I can manage my autoimmune disease and minimize those flare-ups and to keep me doing what I love. You know, it's not worth eating the foods everybody else is telling me to eat and be in pain. Yeah, I might perform okay, but on the inside, I'm suffering badly. So it's not worth it to me. Whereas I'll take, you know, if it's true, I'll take slightly less performance, but feel good, feel mentally clear, have minimal digestive discomfort, eating the foods I eat, than eating the foods somebody else is telling me to eat for performance. Plus, when you eat clean ingredients like this, you're not gonna have many digestive disturbances. You hear these horror stories of Ironman triathletes and marathon runners of just pooping their pants during certain parts of the run. Well, I wonder why. You're probably shoving like 100 plus grams of carbs into your body every hour. Whereas once my body gets used to running off ketones, I'm good. I'm set. Now, like I said, I do eat some carbs, and I might increase those later down the road. I'm not super strict. I can have a tea without freaking out, you know? Find what works for you, and that's always my message towards people. Everybody's healing journey is different. My healing journey is different than your healing journey. You might be fine with raw milk if you can get access to it. Whereas raw milk upsets my stomach if it's from a cow anyway. Besides the fact, everybody is so different. Your body adapts. Your body will make energy from whatever you're giving it. If you're not getting enough energy, your body will tell you and you will know. Right now, the only thing I can do to continue doing what I love, competing in athletics, is to eat the way I'm eating. And I strongly believe that food is medicine, and for some, and a lot of us, animal fats and animal proteins are medicine. So next time you see somebody doing something, you can give them a tip. Say, hey, try adding this to your diet, but don't go off on them saying, you need carbs, you need to do this, you need to have 50 grams of carbs plus every hour for your training session. We're all different. Do what makes you feel good. And don't be afraid to experiment. I was so afraid of experimenting with this carnivore diet when I first started. And it was tough in the beginning, but I love me and I cannot imagine myself eating a different way. I love the things I eat. I love having coconut oil, olive oil, a little bit of white rice mixed in with my ground beef. It's all I need, and my body actually craves it after a long workout session. I'll have a long swim, and I'm in the pool on my last few laps, and I'm like, man, I'm craving some boiled eggs. Whereas I'm not hopping out, I'm craving a bagel with butter. Like, nothing wrong with butter, but, just experiment. Life is about experimenting. Life is an experiment. Don't be so hard on yourself. And I say that out loud because I am hard on myself. But as long as I keep it to single ingredient foods, I feel I do fine, because then I know, for example, as you saw in the beginning of the video, I get custom-made beef sausages. Why do I do that? Is because I react to spices. So if I go to the grocery store and I buy sausages with garlic, onion, paprika, I'm reacting to all those. Whereas if I just simplify it, get custom beef sausages with nothing in it, I can add my own quality sea salt, and just I'll know that whatever I'm putting in my body, it's gonna digest well for me. So just a tip, 5 ingredient meals. So total, you have 5 ingredients with your meals max. You could have ground beef, you could have some tallow, you could have a little bit of coconut oil in there, you could drizzle some maple syrup on there, and some salt. So that's 5 ingredients. 5 ingredient meals. If you just wanna simplify it with still keeping some variety, just do that. So now, if you want to stick with me, I'm actually going to make some sourdough. So I'm going to use my white rice flour that I like to have, and I'm going to mix it with a sourdough starter I bought at the grocery store. And I'm going to maybe try adding that to my diet, make a bit of a sourdough bread, because I'm at the point in my healing journey where I need to start building my gut bacteria up a little bit more to improve my digestion. We all hear about how good sourdough is for us. It's got lots of beneficial bacteria. So stay with me and we're gonna mix it up. Okay, so I don't know if that's blurry or not, but basically the only ingredient is organic brown rice flour, live bacterial cultures. I'm not concerned about the brown rice much because it's going to ferment and all the lectins and toxins will be fermented out of it. So we're going to add packet of starter to 1 tablespoon of flour and 1 tablespoon of room temperature water in a quart-sized glass jar and stir thoroughly. So I gotta grab a jar. This is, I guess, the starter. I've made this before and then I think I left it for a little bit too long, and Bubba, as I called her, because sourdough starter bubbles. Bubba grew some hair, and you might remember Bubba from a while back, but she's been long gone, so we're gonna give this a go. Pretty sure this is probably my 6th attempt at sourdough starter in the last 3 months. have no idea where my glass jars are. I think they're up here. This should do. A little bit tall and skinny, but I'm tall and skinny. Just kidding, I'm not that tall. Plastic, not ideal, but I don't use these often. Okay, well, there's not much in there, but we all start off as little babies and then we grow up into big humans. So I think that's all I need to do. And we gotta cover with some coffee filter or breathable material, which is gonna be cheesecloth. Placed in a warm place for 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 to 8 hours. Bubba's gonna be fed tonight. Bubba number 2, Bubba Jr. Okay, so that is all from me and Bubba Jr. Hope you found some helpful tips. Hope you learned a little bit about me, why I eat this way. And if you haven't already, check out my documentary. It just explains a little bit more about my health issues into detail. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and hopefully you'll be seeing me next week.